Welcome to 5 Minutes of Momentum. These episodes are a short 5-minute burst of inspiration, motivation, and massive action. If you need that little kick up the butt to get things moving and to inspire you to take massive action, then every single Thursday I'll be sending you through a 5-minute episode to download, digest, and implement to finish your week off strong. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Hey, welcome back to 5 Minutes of Momentum. So lately I've been hearing a lot about how sales have slowed and that it's really tough out there. And I want to share with you something that could really help benefit and just shift things up. So I want to share with you 10 different ways that you can create more conversations that could lead to sales. So often the case is we start stressing out, we go into scarcity, and then we go, oh my God, how do I make more money? And we start going to have sales conversations too early, and we haven't actually warmed people up or developed a relationship before we go straight into sales. So I want to share with you 10 different ways that you can create conversations. But again, these are just the beginnings of conversations that could lead to sales conversations. So really when we think about it, right, majority of the time, sales come from a conversation, right? If you just go back to the complete basics of it, if you need to sell 10 people into a one-on-one retainer or offer that you sell, and your conversion rate of your discovery calls is 50%, then you need to have 20 discovery calls booked in, right? The intention of you being able to sell on a discovery call, you need to have 10 discovery call conversations in order for you to convert at a 50% conversion rate, right? So how do we then get discovery calls booked in? The first place is usually through a conversation that then leads to a discovery call, right? It's an opportunity for people to book in a call. So what we want to do is we want to create conversations where we can nurture them and guide them to a call where you can further serve them. So what we want to do firstly is just focus on developing more conversations. If you're having more conversations on a regular basis, you're less likely to go through a slump in your sales. So we want to start firstly with just thinking about new ways to have conversations. And this is where I think people get so stuck with social media, is that they don't treat it like a social platform. They go straight into treating it like a selling platform. We want to treat it like a social platform. Create opportunities for conversations. So the first one, super simple. Do you have a welcome follower message? So for every new follower that comes on to your page, do you send them a message? You could send them a quick voice note, right? And sometimes people go, oh, this is too time consuming, Christine. Well, do you want to make more money or not? Like, do you want to care about the people that actually come into your spaces? Do you want to show them that you care? Like, welcome them. It's not a difficult thing to do. You could set aside 15 minutes once a week, and literally send every person that's come across to your page who's hit follow and send them a welcome message. I do it, right? You can absolutely do this. Now, yes, you could possibly automate it. I don't necessarily like to automate it because it takes away the personalization. Now, as a coach, people need to feel like they're connected to me and trust me. So sending an automation doesn't really serve me at this stage of business that I'm in. I might need to, yes, absolutely, down the track, automate the crap out of it. But at this point in time, I'm quite happy to set aside the time where I get to make these connections, because the conversations that follow from those welcome messages are awesome. And so if I don't take the time for that, then I'm missing out on connecting with people that could potentially become a client. So first one, send a welcome follower message. Number 2, create polls that people can respond to. Often the case is if you're creating polls that are too difficult, that it's not easy for people to respond to, they do not respond. So create polls on a regular basis to get and train your audience to actually respond to you, right? Create polls. Next one is use question boxes. Make it again simple. Rather than, one of the things like in an earlier stage of business when you don't have much of an audience and you haven't really developed that trust with your audience, sometimes putting question boxes up and being like, ask me anything, doesn't work, because they're like, I don't even know you. I don't even know what to ask you. I don't even know what your expertise is. And you're saying, oh, ask me anything. If you're not sharing enough and adding value, they've got no idea what to ask you because they're not looking to you for the answers. But you can do it in a different way. So you can ask for recommendations. You can ask for, do you like this or do you like that? Do you prefer this? Where do you buy your coffee from? Like simple things that people can respond to, which aren't necessarily related to what you sell. Develop those types of relationships first, and then they're more likely to respond to a sales poll or a sales questionnaire when you put it out there. Next one is create conversations in Facebook groups. When you're intentionally trying to build your audience by adding value in Facebook groups and becoming seen, it's honestly really worthwhile and valuable. I went to an event recently and one of the girls, a girl that I met there, she was like, oh, I follow you. And I was like, oh, do you? That's awesome. Thanks so much. And I was like, where did you find me? And she's like, I'm pretty sure from a Facebook group. And I was like, do you want to know why? Like, I've created omnipresence through never ever changing my profile picture. My profile picture has always been the pink one right from the beginning of my business. I love that picture and I've kept it that way because majority of people then resonate or pay attention to the repetition of my brand being pink. So it creates omnipresence and it creates memorability. So think about how you can be seen, and if you're answering and adding value in Facebook groups, people really pay attention to that. And it's not just the people you're responding to, it's the people who are reading the responses. So so many people jump into Facebook groups and be like, oh, I have that question, and then they jump into the chat to see how people answered it. It works the same with TikTok. Honestly, it's crazy on TikTok when you do that, where you literally just go to the comments to find the answer, right? Instead of you asking it, someone else has asked it. So create opportunities for that in Facebook groups. Next one, do market research interviews. Find out what is going on for people and solve their problem without asking for money. Do market research interviews, give them opportunities, create spaces where you can do free advice and opportunities where you can give free coaching or whatever it is that you do. Create opportunities for that so then people can create that relationship with you and stay in a conversation, because if you solve one problem, you can then possibly then sell them the solution to the other problem. Create an opportunity for that. You could do live coaching on a Facebook or Instagram live. Like, are you creating opportunities to invite people into having a conversation with you? Get invited onto a podcast or invite people onto a podcast. It is such an opportunity, and there is so much opportunity for that to be not necessarily just high-level guests. Often some people go through this element of like, oh my God, this person, I can't have her on the podcast. She's only got 500 followers. But that could be 500 people that she could really reach out to, and she might have a really engaged audience that you just never know. And then that person specifically who was interviewed on your podcast can become a client. You just never know. The next one could be creating a consistent opportunity for people to ask you questions. So, do a lunch and learn, or create a networking event when people come and you get to interact and create an opportunity for you to have conversations. What's something that you can do consistently so then people look to you for the answer and they know that they've got this place to come. Without that, people don't really build that relationship. So thinking about how you can do that. You could do it with a Facebook group. You can do it with a Facebook Live that you call it something where, I loved how Jasmine Star did this, and she did it with Coffee and Chats, I think it was, years ago. And she did it every single Monday, I think it was. And she would do Coffee and Chats every single week, same time every single week. And I loved it. It was so good. I tuned in for those. And the next one is go talk to more people at events. Make the time to go to events and have more conversations, ask more questions. You want to have more conversations? Ask more questions. And the last one, invite people to download your free resource. Majority of the time, you either don't have one or you're not inviting people enough, right? Invite them, then have a conversation with them. Add a value, solve a problem, and then invite them to have more of a conversation. I hope you go out and try at least 2 of these today. It honestly will start to shift and change your business. Create spaces to create conversations.